Hello, I'm Heather.
And I'm Ryan.
Welcome to the podcast. It's game night, it's sibling rivalry, it's a walk down memory lane, but most importantly, it's politics free.
Guaranteed.
Welcome to this game break episode of the Politics Free podcast. We just finished 10 rounds of Pando.
And I won.
We haven't quite... We haven't quite decided what the next game is going to be, but I thought that we do a little game break episode because we're going to take a week off, right? So we're going to do a short game break episode. Next week, there will be no episode, but then we'll be back the week after that with our next game. Because Pando was kind enough to send me a couple of other versions of Pando, I thought we'd do like a box opening kind of episode. We're just going to... I have not prepared anything. I'm just going to pull cards out of the box. We're going to explore these two Pando games.
Okay.
One is the kids edition of Pando.
Okay.
And the other is the parental advisory explicit content version of Pando.
Can we start with the kids version?
Yes, I was going to say we're going to start light. We'll start with the kids version. It seems inappropriate to do these both in the same episode, but this is where we are. Without further ado, Ryan, I open now the kids edition of Pando. Okay, let's just flip open a card and see what's on some of these.
I'm going to try to answer them.
Which do I pick, Ryan? Airheads or Jolly Ranchers? We're not keeping score. This is a game break episode.
Jolly Ranchers.
That's a tough choice.
They're both good.
Yeah, Jolly Ranchers. Yeah, you're right. Jolly Ranchers. Because they have got the sour apple Jolly Ranchers the best.
Yes.
Do I have a list of chores?
No.
Only in my head. Only in my head do I have a list of chores. I do have lists of chores for my kids, though.
Oh,
They've
good.
got little chore lists, yeah. True or false, my parents are always on their phones.
That is false.
I'm pretty sure it's even though I live thousands of miles away from them and have no way of knowing, because they haven't had phones since when I left home, there were no cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no idea how they treat their cell phones, but I'm going to guess they're not the kind.
Well, I mean, they have cell phones, but they're not always on them. That's for sure. Because you try to call them and they very rarely answer right away.
That's true. Sometimes I go hours without hearing back on a text. Although, to be fair, sometimes when people text me, they're going to go hours without hearing back from me.
Oh, I think I have like 30 unread messages on my phone.
It's not that we don't like you, okay? It's just that we're not glued to our phones. Ryan, name my favorite song.
Ooh, it's definitely a Beatles song. Strawberry Fields Forever.
Brilliant song. Love it. I do not have a favorite song.
Oh,
I find
okay.
that to be one of the most impossible questions to answer. There's so many good songs, and like from week to week, it can change for me what my favorite song is. So, moving on. I wish I was better at
acting.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Then I could make millions of dollars.
Hell yeah.
Good call. True or false? I like fry sauce better than ketchup.
Do you know what fry sauce is, Heather?
I do not know what fry sauce is, Ryan.
Then I'm going to say that's false. It's
way to logically deduce the answer.
It's basically ketchup and mustard, or ketchup and mayo mixed together, basically.
Oh, no, I do like fry sauce better.
Okay.
Have that on a hot dog now that I know what it is. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
See, it's educational. All right, we'll do one more of these kids' cards here.
All right.
Do I play on a soccer team? Right?
Yes, Heather, you do. Fairly certain of it.
I play with Arsenal. I think that's the name of a soccer team over across the pond. Oh, I shouldn't have picked a soccer team. UK listeners, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't turn on me if you're not a fan of Arsenal. I don't know anything about it.
And it's not soccer over there, Heather. It's not soccer over there.
That's true. It's not soccer over there. Listen, true or false? One time I threw up on a roller coaster.
Yes. You've never been on a roller coaster. Yes, my answer is yes.
I've never thrown up on a roller coaster.
Damn it.
I came very close to throwing up on the tilt-a-whirl one time, but I held it together. Would I rather have a treehouse or a trampoline?
Treehouse all day long.
Absolutely. Trampoline. We have a trampoline, though, and not a treehouse. Mike should make a treehouse for the girls. I'll set him on that. He's going to love that project. He's going to hate it so bad. And if I say it in front of them, he will shoot daggers into my head.
Do you remember the time that you broke in to the treehouse in Granny and Grandpa's yard? It was Peter and I were up in this treehouse.
Mm-hmm.
And we were trying to lock you out by putting a heavy stool in front of the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I stood in front of this heavy stool, and you were sitting there pounding on the door, and you eventually knocked the stool over, and it landed right on my big toe, and it literally lifted the nail off of the bed.
Mm.
And it was absolutely painful.
I have zero memory of this occurrence.
I remember it very well.
I can tell. Well, I'm sorry about that, but, maybe don't try to lock me out of the treehouse next time.
That's fair.
I'm just saying.
You ever wonder how high that treehouse was actually off the ground? Like, it seemed like it was pretty high up in the tree. But we were also very small at the time.
Were. I remember this one time at lunch one day when I was in, high school level at lunch, and I don't know how we got onto this, but I started telling everybody about these gigantic South African turtles at the zoo that are as tall as a person. And I was going on and on about it. And one of my friends, I forget who it was, just went, Heather, how old were you at the time that you saw these turtles? And I was like 3. She was like, yeah, you were a lot shorter then, right? So I think there's not turtles that big. I was like, you bring up an excellent point. And I feel foolish. Thank you so much. Ryan?
Yes.
I have opened the dastardly dreaded box of Ranch from Pando. I have no idea what's on these cards, and I am not ready for this.
Whew.
I reserve the right not to answer honestly on any of these questions. Here we go. True or false? One time I woke up, looked around, and couldn't figure out whose bed I was in.
False.
I'm going to say false on that. I have woken up disoriented before, but I've never done a one-night stand thing. I'm a good girl. I'm a prude. Oh, do I call it making love?
Yes.
I do. I do indeed. Do I revel in the failure of others?
No, you don't.
No, I really don't.
Depends on who it is, though. If it's somebody you really hate, you might be like, yeah, you deserved it, you piece of shit.
I genuinely cannot think of one person that I hate so bad that if they had a massive failure, I would feel happy about it.
Right.
That's not who I am. That wasn't such a bad card.
No, it wasn't.
That was relatively tame.
So there's this guy that I worked with briefly for this company, and I absolutely could not stand him. And so long story short, it got to the point where I was just like, I had to call somebody and be like, hey, look, I need to go on a different job or be separated from this guy because I'm ready to walk off this job. And the superintendent that I called was like, well, we don't want that to happen, so we're going to figure this out, right? So we figured it out. Anyway, I no longer ever have to work with him. And I found out recently that he got offered a job as a general foreman for another company. And so, listen, there's not a single person in this company that likes this guy, right? So we're all super ecstatic that he's leaving. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to start poaching all the guys from here. I'm going to start poaching them. And I was like, well, good luck with that, because nobody's going to go with you.
Way to be a stellar person, by the way, buddy. All right, it's getting a little more risque, Ryan. Are you ready for this next card?
I'm ready.
Would I rather fuck a cop or a firefighter?
Firefighter.
Yep, definitely. It seems sexier. It seems hotter, if you will.
So I was doing these jobs at some fire stations. So the guy that I was working with at the time, he goes, because we have we're doing jobs for all the Portland fire stations. Every single one of them, we have this huge contract right now. And so at the shop, we have they have a whole area that's just dedicated to all the parts and stuff like that for this job. And so the guy I was working with, he's like, I wonder if those firefighter calendars actually exist. He's like, we should get one and put it up by the, the shop bench. And so one of the firefighters comes around. He's like, hey, I got a question for you. And I was like, oh, God. He's like, do you guys by any chance have those firefighter calendars? And the guy starts laughing. He's like, yeah, no, we don't do that.
All right, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Do I tell my fucker to keep going when I like what they're doing?
Yes.
Yeah, no, you have to. You can't not, because it's not always clear. But yeah.
This is terrible.
I can't. I can't even ask this, true or false. God.
Don't even want to fucking think about that.
Let's move on. I'm going to edit that question out. Ding, ding, ding. If you're hearing the ding, 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 that means I edited the last one out for total inappropriateness.
Jeez.
Oh, true or false? I wish there were two of me so I could fuck myself.
False.
Definitely false. No thank you to that. Am I attracted to people who ruin my life?
Absolutely not.
No, I don't think so. Some people are.
That is true.
There's some toxic relationships out there. I mean, gosh, do I dare do one more of these cards? Oh, God. I don't. At this point, we're going to go on to a non-Pando game next.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like the kid one is like not quite, like the questions aren't totally appropriate to us. And also the parental advisory ones are not totally appropriate to us. So we'll try something else next time. But so if anybody has been enjoying either version of these games and would like to play it, playpando.com, link in the show notes. They're not a sponsor, but grab yourself some of these great games. They've been so awesome to us, and we've had such a great time playing regular Pando. So last gross raunchy card. Let's see if we survive this. True or false, I have a paid account on a porn site.
That is false.
Definitely false. I would not do that.
You have a free account.
I have a free account. I would never pay. Damn it. Have I fucked somebody locally famous? Have you fucked somebody locally famous? Let's turn this around on you for a minute.
I have not. I have not.
Yeah, me neither. True or false, one time my neighbors saw me naked.
True.
Probably when I was little. I can't, because we used to run around naked.
Yes, we did.
When we were like little tiny kids, so I'm sure. But as an adult, unless they were spying on me, I don't think so. I don't just walk around naked. Now you know.
So, I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
I came home one day, not too long ago, to a completely empty house. Both the girls were spending the night at a friend's house. Rebecca was still at work. And I went and took a shower. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to put any clothes on. And I just wandered around completely naked. Started getting dinner ready completely naked. And it was very freeing. It was quite nice. Wish I could do that a little bit more often.
I did used to actually sometimes just go around in the buff in my younger years. Before I had kids and before I had Charlie, who I might have to at any moment run out the door after.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just started. Plus, look, 20-year-old naked person versus their 40-year-old self, sometimes there's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So I maybe felt a little more confident back then.
For sure.
Than I maybe do now, perhaps. Well, that was all very personal, and they did warn us that was a totally inappropriate game for us to play. But thank you, Pando, for being so awesome. We've thoroughly enjoyed playing Pando. We might, should I even say it? We might have some people from Pando as guests in the near future on the podcast. We'll keep you posted on that. In the meantime, all the usual stuff. Share your stories with us. Your stories that you think of when we're playing these games. We like to keep it lighthearted. You can email them to us, thepoliticsfreepodcast@outlook.com. You can go on to Instagram, message us at the Politics Free Podcast, and we now have a subreddit, Politics Free Podcast, all one word, no punctuation. load them onto us, and we will share them on the podcast along with when we play our next game. Quick reminder, we will not be back next week, but the week after with our next 10-round game. Until
we play again.